There was no joy. There was no peace. The earliest memory I have of anxiety and depression is about 4 years old when I started having panic attacks due to some of the trauma that I endured as a child. The panic attacks got stronger as I got older, and the depression got worse as I got older, to the point where I couldn't really handle the emotions and the feelings. So at 14, I started using drugs. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't have anybody to talk to. Was really, really depressed and really started having panic attacks pretty much a couple times a week. And so I started using methamphetamines to kind of bring me to a point where I didn't have to feel anything. I met my forever husband in 1995. We had a baby shortly after. She passed away of SIDS when she was 4 months and 17 days old, and that pretty much crushed my entire world. Both of us grieved really differently. He was very inward, I was very outward with it. We had quit using, I had quit using when I had gotten pregnant, but the night of her funeral, I started using again. He quit using 2 weeks before we got married, and he basically gave me an ultimatum to quit or we weren't getting married. And so we quit. Yeah, it was hard. It was not easy. We went through a lot of struggles. I continued to use marijuana on and off throughout the years to kind of curb those issues and the pain that would come about every now and again. On her birthday and on the day of the anniversary of her death, I had so much uncertainty of where my daughter was. Was she in heaven? Was she not in heaven? Is there a heaven? If there is a God, why would he take babies? It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It didn't really hit me until my grandfather passed away, to think about death again and to think about heaven and to think about where we go at the end of our lives. And it was pretty traumatic to go through that experience again. Brought me right back to all the feelings with Hannah. My grandmother died 2 years later, and that was excruciating for me. She was more like a mother to me and always had my back. She was the one person I could count on in this world to really give me hope and that everything was gonna be okay, and she always tried to make it okay. And when she passed, I felt like I lost my world. I then lost everything. That made me want something more. I really wished I had somebody, something to lean on to make me feel better, to help me through it. And it wasn't until a year later that I hit rock bottom, that I really decided that I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't try to have control over my life and go through this process, and I just didn't want to live. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to go forward. I didn't want to go on anymore. And I knew I had a lot to live for, my children and my husband and grandchildren, but it really just didn't matter at that point. And she had a prayer shawl that was given to her by the church, and I grabbed that and I dropped to my knees and I got out all my bitterness and anger towards God. I told him pretty awful things, that I was so mad at him and how dare him and how can he give somebody such a great life and other people such a bad life and be such a loving God. But at the end of that, I begged him to change my life if he could. If you really can do it, do it. I begged for an entire year. I prayed and prayed and prayed that he would bring me people. I just need humans to tell me how to do this because I don't know how. And I don't want to go ask anybody, so I need you to bring them to me. I didn't know if he was listening. I didn't know if anything was going to happen because I had never seen him in my life before that. He directed my path to Heartland Community Action, where I met my boss, Jason, who had a Bible on his desk. So I felt very comfortable to be able to ask questions. Through him, I was brought to Atlas and I got a mentor. Jan has really made a difference in my life, just even by going to help me buy a Bible. I've been in there before looking, and there's a whole shelf of Bibles. I didn't know what I was supposed to be buying. I didn't know which one I was going to understand. And she was very loving and caring about it. And we stood in there for a couple of hours while we talked through this kind and that kind and, study Bibles. And that was my breakthrough with Jan, where I really was like, we are going to fit together really well, because she wasn't annoyed about it. She was very accepting. She was very loving and caring about it. And she has taught me a lot on relationships and marriage and the things about what the Bible is saying. And we talk a lot about different verses and what they mean. And she's a person that I can count on, like I counted on my grandpa. I didn't think he was ever listening. I didn't think I was ever good enough to have blessings, to have people. It's just such a blessing, and my heart is full with love and joy, and I'm just so excited to see where he brings us next, because it feels like every day there's something new that I'm in awe of that he's doing in our lives, and I feel whole for the first time ever. Your shame and guilt are going to keep you from a lot of things, and they're going to keep you from doing a lot of things. You need to talk to somebody. You need to go. You need to ask for help. I think we forget the importance of serving others, and there's a lot of broken people in this world that just need someone to care. They just need someone there to talk to. Just because they're not coming forward on a day-to-day basis out in your regular life, they're not going to. It's not going to happen that way. Really, it's going to come from a place like Atlas, where it's safe. The mentee knows it's safe. The mentor knows it's safe. It's just a great experience, and until you've done it, I don't think you'll understand how great that really is. I'm excited to become one. I can't wait to go to the mentor training, because I know how much it has changed my life, that I can't imagine helping change somebody else's life. With God working through you to help that person, I can't imagine how great that feels.